we get to the final, and the final, in fact, was actually a great fight. I felt so bad for Rose, and this comes up, I guess, all the time, but she was just dominating. That first round, she put on a clinic of how to manage range, piece together combos, and she was picking Jessica Andrade apart. The slam that came in the second round, if she was slammed on any other part of her body, it wouldn't have had the same effect. She was scrambling, she was fighting for arm bars, she was looking for the submission to try to mitigate that slam. And unfortunately, and well done to Andrade, she lined it up right and she got her on her head and she knocked her out and she put her out and she took that belt. I don't think that Andrade is going to hold that title for very long. I was disappointed to hear that I think Rose will probably plan to retire after this, or at least take a continued leave of absence, which I think is such a shame if it is the case, because she showed that she's still just one of the best to ever do it. She put on such a clinic, and for one mistake to be the thing that changes her mind and pulls her away from it is really, really quite upsetting for us. It will be a real loss and a real shame to the sport if she doesn't compete again. So I really hope she does. I don't believe, it's deserving of an immediate rematch or anything. And maybe that's the thing that would keep her away, is she doesn't feel she would get the immediate rematch. Maybe she just doesn't enjoy the pressures of the fight game. If you watch any of the content with her that shows her outside of the fight, it's quite clear she's not a huge fan of being famous or having all this media attention and all this pressure. She does fighting for herself and for her own self-development and self-growth. Maybe she feels like there's not much left there to develop and grow from. So I don't know. Well done to Andrade. She implemented what she does well, and she did it. So she knows she can slam people. She can lift these women up and she can put them down on that canvas and do damage. And she did just that. How is she going to fare against some of the elite strikers in that division? That remains to be seen. And I guess we will see moving forward. The other thing that came up on the same evening is obviously we had Bellator, and really I only wanted to focus in on the Michael Page-Douglas Lima fight. So for anyone who hasn't seen, I don't know how you haven't, Douglas Lima violently knocked out Michael Page in the second round. And this goes back to the discussion we were having around Wonderboy when Wonderboy was beaten by Pettis, and the vulnerabilities of that points fighting, karate, freestyle kickboxing background. And I know it too well because that's my original background. That's where I come from. And I can see it, and you see it time and time again. And these fighters are now really starting to clock on to the way of breaking these guys down. And it seems the key to it is the leg kick. So freestyle point fight karate and even freestyle continuous kickboxing is generally a above waist affair. So with the exception of things like Glory, the general practice of kickboxing and karate is above the waist. So kicks and punches, everything lands above the waist. And this is where you have the issue of, you do have, I consider Michael Page to be one of the greatest strikers of all time. And I know I'll get a lot of pushback on that, but the above waist, I genuinely believe he is. I think he's shown that in terms of his kickboxing credentials. The issue is our lack of experience and our lack of exposure to the world of being kicked in your legs. And, like these Muay Thai guys, and Lima comes from that Muay Thai background. It's a staple of their training. So they're introduced to it very early, and they're conditioned to it very early, and they understand it very, very early. It's a real game changer. And the point style with the blitz, where we lean over the front leg to push forward, and where we've got our stance a little wider so that we've got that wide base to kick with the lead side and blitz and push in, it makes them extremely susceptible to these kicks, to these leg kicks. And not only are we susceptible to being caught by them, but we simply do not have the conditioning to deal with them when they're landing. Now, no one really does. If you even look at great Muay Thai fighters, you take enough of them, you're going to be limping. You take a few more, you're going to go to the ground. But if you've had no experience with them or very little, and you eat the first few from someone like Douglas Lima, well, guess what? It's going to sweep your leg out from under you. It's going to put you on the ground, and he's going to take full advantage like he did, and he's going to smash your head into the canvas and put you out for the night. I hope Michael is okay. He seemed to be looking at the post-fight press conference. He seemed to be himself, obviously deflated and defeated, and I'm sure he will make a great comeback. But you see this time and time again. You saw Wonder Boy getting his leg eaten up. I'm brought back to Raymond Daniels when he fought Bazooka Joe in Glory. Bazooka Joe was the only guy to take Daniels out in Glory, and it was exactly the same formula. He ate up his legs until Daniels couldn't do what Daniels does anymore. He couldn't dance around, he couldn't spin, he couldn't switch the stances, and then suddenly the guy with the sharp fundamental hands can get inside on you and he can punch you in your head. And that's exactly what seems to be happening. So, there's adjustments to be made, there's growth, and this is the beauty of mixed martial arts, is in the same way that points fighting karate is the kryptonite for a lot of these guys. There's so many people who couldn't work out that puzzle and who get picked apart and highlight real finishes with jumping spinning kicks. There's always the other side to it. The same thing happens with wrestling being the thing that takes you down, but if you got a BJJ guy, you might take him down, but maybe that's exactly where he wants to be. So that's the beauty of it. We've got all these different disciplines and they all interact with each other in different ways. And the true masters seem to be the ones who have a little bit of everything and can rely on what they need to when they need to. The other thing to keep in mind, if you look at Daniels and if you look at Rose, it only takes one mistake. It takes one moment, one little lapse in concentration. That's all you need to be put out, and suddenly the game is turned. You're winning. The MVP, I would say, won the first round. I'd say if he carried on in that trajectory as he was, he probably would have took the fight. But it only took one. It only took that one leg kick. It only took that one slam on Rose, and the fight's been turned and everything's been changed, and the result will show it the other way. So no matter, you could be winning for 3 rounds. You can be winning up to the 59th, second of the last minute. But they change it, they catch you, they hit you with that submission, they catch you with that kick, they catch you with that punch, that sweep, whatever it may be. The result will show that you lost. You might have won the entire fight, but you lost the event. You will have the L on your record. That's the excitement. That's what makes MMA such an amazing and beautiful sport, is it's not over until it's over. If you go watch a football game and the score is 3-0 and there's 5 minutes left, 98% sure you know exactly what that result is going to be. Same with basketball, same with tennis, whatever you like. MMA allows you to turn it round at any moment. Early, middle, late, at any time, any fighter on any day can change it. You can play back the same fight 10 times and you'll get 10 different results. And that's the beauty of the game. That's why we love it. That's why it's so entertaining to watch, because you really don't know what you're going to see. You really don't know what you're going to get. So, not the greatest night of fights ever, but some interesting results and a lot of things to take away. I look forward to what's coming up next.